City of Stevens Point Personnel Committee meeting, recorded January 11, 2021.
The Personnel Committee is called to order at 6:14. I was just asking if, I assume Lisa is on?
Yes.
There she is. Could you please take the roll for us?
Shore.
Here.
Dalton.
Here.
Zarazua.
Here.
Nabel.
Here.
And Leek.
Here.
Thank you very much. The first item is a notice of a city employee seeking public office in their own community. So, Lisa, would you tell us about that? Thanks.
Sure. So included in the packet is a memo from that employee, as well as Administrative Policy 1.01. I highlighted the portion that refers to the nonpartisan activity. At this point, there are no concerns about Roger Stretchkuski participating in this fashion. So the appropriate action for the committee would be to accept the information and place it on file.
Thank you for that advice. So I suppose we are needing that action, which we would of course take along with offering our thanks and appreciation for their serving in their community.
Yes.
Do I have a motion to accept that notice and place it on file?
Leek here. I'll move to accept and place on file.
Moved by Alder Leek.
Zarazua, I'll second.
Seconded by Alder Zarazua. Any discussion in the committee? Anyone else wanting to say anything? I'm scrolling through, looking for electronic raised hands. Seeing none, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstaining? The motion carries. Okay. The next item is an amendment to our administrative policy, a temporary assignment. And Manager Yakush, if you would tell us about that as well.
Surely. So currently that policy applies to hourly employees in the Streets and Parks Department. Back when this policy was written, Mayor Wiesa participated in that process. Former Director Schrader and former Director Schatzsnyder all worked on it. At that time, Director Lemke said that indicated that his department really didn't act in that capacity or handle things in that fashion. So he was not part of the process. Since that time, they are coming to start doing this sort of acting pay. So we just wanted to amend the policy to make it sure that our I's are dotted and T's are crossed, to just include the utility department as well.
Thank you for that. So 2 points here, it seems. One, this is a policy whereby if people have duties temporarily, to make sure that they are compensated fairly for that. Point two, regarding the utilities department having not gone along with everyone else the last time, let that be a lesson, I guess. Anyway, sorry, that might have been a cheap shot. Any questions from the committee? Okay. Any questions from alders or anyone else? Scrolling, looking at both.
This is Joel. I wouldn't mind commenting.
Uh-oh, I hope it wasn't not in response to me. Please go ahead.
No. I just wanted to point out. Well, I guess it is kind of in response to that, but not that it was a shot. Just because one of the things from last month, a notice about a request for reclassification. It's the potential of the reclassification happening and thereby creating a differential pay that would make this relevant. Other than that, all the jobs that you might cycle between had the same rate of pay anyway. So it's really in anticipation of that, just to be clear.
So you're, if I understand, you're saying specifically in this case, what prompts the issue? Right. I mean,
Right, so,
broadly speaking, the policy is about being able to compensate for temporary duties.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
And yeah, it is. And the differential that could exist has yet to happen yet, but it may in the months to come. And it has to do with a equipment operator position that currently is graded in the same position as all the other operators that aren't equipment operators, the utility operators. They're all in the same grade. So there really isn't a pay differential there in the situations currently, but there could be in the future if the request for reclassification is successful.
Right. But this will also give you flexibility beyond the particular situation.
It
Yes.
sure will.
Yes. Okay. Thanks. I guess that brings us to the point of entertaining a motion.
Alder Nabel here. I will propose that we accept this proposal.
To change the policy to include
Yes,
the
change
utilities
that
department. No,
policy.
thank you. Yep. Do we have a second?
This is Zarazua. I'll second.
Alder Zarazua seconds. Any further questions or discussions, committee? Okay, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any noes or abstentions? The motion carries. Item number 4 is an overlapping item with a finance committee item. One of the issues related to the Edgewater transition being an idea for staff to help Edgewater residents. So with that general announcement and description, Manager Yakuch, would you want to offer further background?
Sure. Included in the packet was a memo from Director Kronowski, kind of giving the background, the financial impact, as well as the staff recommendations. And the staff is recommending the Personnel Committee approve staff to negotiate with Portage County for potentially a contract position. And if we're unable to do that, then post the position as an LTE with the City of Stevens Point. One point of reference, and maybe a bit of clarity here too, because the Finance Committee is acting on this item later this evening, it might be appropriate to, if the Personnel Committee is going to approve it, make that approval contingent upon also the Finance Committee approving it, so that we don't run the risk of having two committees taking separate action.
I think I followed that sort of. Mr. Mayor.
It's really just whatever the motion is, end it with subject to Finance Committee approval.
Okay. And again, so those scenarios are a temporary part-time employee and a potential cooperation with county government. And now I am looking at the comptroller treasurer.
Yes, and I guess, so did you have a question or just looking at a specific?
What I'm wanting to do, thank you. What I'm wanting to, because I know that a lot of discussion and effort's gone into looking at sort of how do we staff the help and implementation of the Edgewater transition program. It's coming before us in terms of how it's going to be staffed, and I want to make sure that I understood that those are the possible options and outcomes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I think the preference that we've kind of discussed is if we have an organization that has somebody ready that's qualified to pick this up, that's probably the first choice, just because the sooner that we can get this started, the better. And it'd be good to have somebody who can really hit the ground running. So I think our first choice would be if we can contract with another organization like the county, if they have a benefit specialist that wants to pick up extra hours. But if that's not possible, then I think that's where we would be looking at hiring instead.
Thank you. So that means that and this gets at what was behind my question. County's not the only possible contract party with whom we'd cooperate for this. It could be through a nonprofit agency, a social service agency.
Yes.
Right. So we'll want to reflect that in our action as well. Alder Dalton wanted the floor, please.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to make a motion to approve staff negotiating with Portage County to contract for the position, and if unable to fill through the county, to post and hire a limited term employee contingent on Finance Committee approval.
Thank you for that. And if I can offer clarification.
Enable.
Contract through the county or another organization.
Correct.
Or to hire part-time.
I accept your friendly amendment.
Thank you very much. And I believe I have a second from Alder Nabel.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? First, the committee.
Can I just hear motion again? Just there was a lot of talking over it, so I couldn't hear it.
I think we're getting an echo through Alder Dalton's phone. Thank you. There are multiple ways through which this staff support can happen. And so our motion is to cover all those possibilities. Contracting with county government, if that's where an appropriate person is, a private agency, if that's where an appropriate person is, or failing that, the need for city government to hire. And as we've discussed, our action will be contingent on also on action of the Finance Committee. Any other questions? President Johnson and then Alder Fischler.
Okay, just thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't want to hamstring us, so a couple of things. I sit on the Aging and Disability Resource Center and the Commission on Aging Board for the county, and we did discuss this the other evening. It could be ADRC may have an individual who could fill this role. However, going through the county process could take a couple of months. So you need to be aware of that. It could, I spoke with Chris Holman, the executive, the other day. There might be ways to expedite it, but we're still looking at a longer period of time. I just want perhaps yet another, I'm not on the committee, so I don't know how to suggest this through a parliamentary method, that there be some consideration to allow administration to make the best choice to fit the not only the qualifications, but also the need for speed, so to speak.
Sorry, I was muted. Thank you for that. Let me offer a response in terms of how I understand what we're doing. What this committee is doing is simply making sure that there is actually the flexibility for this to be handled in any of the ways that we can foresee it. So I don't think, that there's a need for our action to kind of make it any sharper than that. But thank you.
I just wanted to make sure that we had that flexibility, though. So.
Yeah. The intention of our action is to say there's kind of been approval for any of these scenarios. Alder Fischler.
Thank you. I just really wanted to voice my support of this, just because there's so many people at Edgewater that either maybe don't have internet or can't navigate it properly. And those people are going to really need some help to transition out of Edgewater to different housing. So thank you to everyone who worked on this, President Johnson, staff, and Mayor Wiesa as well. So thank you for just thinking of these people and how to transition them properly. I appreciate it.
Well put. Yes, a lot of work has gone in, and everybody wants to do right and keep faith. Anyone else before we go ahead and vote? I guess this is, let me look for electronic raise hands, seeing none, hearing none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining? That motion carries. And the fifth and final item on our agenda is a report back on a request for reclassification from Central Transportation. Monica Yakush, would you want to update us on that?
Sure. So we have a position that's vacant. The mobility coordinator position has become vacant at the Central Transportation Department. And also the travel trainer position has been not utilized very well since the onset of the pandemic last spring. So there has been some movement afoot to see if they could coordinate the two positions. So that job description is being rewritten and then will be sent to Baker Tilly, formerly Springstead, for review and appropriate grade placement. If they recommend a change in grade, then that would come back to the Personnel Committee and City Council for approval.
Thank you. Everybody is by now probably familiar with how this works, that requested changes to grade are submitted to the experts to see whether there's justification for it. We get informed of that request before it's even evaluated and recommended on, and then when the recommendations comes from them, it comes to us for decision. So thank you for that. Any questions? Probably shouldn't be any. So with that, our agenda is exhausted and we are adjourned at 6:33. Thanks.
video of this meeting is available for viewing on the city's website, stevenspoint.com/videos.